hello. It's still ridiculously hot. I was so excited earlier today. When my hello, the weather app said it'll rain at 1:42 p.m. and I was like, yes. Don't know what happened to it, but it didn't rain. I have never been so disappointed in my life. I bought a new microphone holdery thing to try and make it so that I could put the mic in a better position. Well, technically I can. But unlike my other one, you can't really move it once the world is alive. You have to loosen screws and it's a bit shit, frankly, and it costs a lot of money, so I'm a little bit miffed with that. But let's... Oh, and by the way, the camera controls aren't working today. The camera's gone back to not working, so no camera controls. But ignoring the fact that the camera controls don't work, the other commands do, so I have put some effort in so that should the camera be working, the camera command will tell you whether or not it's working, in essence. Yeah. And do you remember the other day I had a sore spot on this thumb and it meant that I'd picked it and it had gone really sore? Well, I've now got, you can see, just about, a little white dot on this thumb. That itches like a... And it seems that this thumb's now doing it. So whatever it was, I've got it on this thumb now. So, this pillow is not level. And I don't know why not. That's a bit better. No, don't be so annoying. I've explained this to you before. It's got a tiltery thing on it. The problem is that to tighten it is really difficult. So you have to almost find an angle for which it doesn't rock. So let me try and work out which is its angle of axis. That's backwards and forwards. So if I turn it, where's the handle? If I turn the base and like that, how does that do? That's a bit better. Right. I need to stick in a couple of pins to hold this down. But without the bobbles, because the bobbles are getting caught in everything. So that's... Ow. Some of these pins are not easy to push in, so let's push that in there with that. And we'll still one more from over there to go in the hole over here. Hold that down while we work on it. Right. So how are you two? How are you? And I'm Oh no, don't be anxious. Is there anything we can do other than, just be here? And as someone who suffers from a lot of things, I can understand that just having people out there that you recognise or that and feel free to feel that you kind of know us, because, well, let's face it, I've talked bullshit at you all for many hours, so you probably do. But is there anything we can do to help? That is an important question. Well, that's a good thing. But if you think of anything we can do, just shout. I mean, we've got the stupid guess word game thing that I can dig out, and we can play a few rounds of that because I'm dyslexic, so it's really easy to win against me. But not that it's really against me; it's a group effort. But yeah, you know, if you think of something we can do, or something you want to talk about, give us a shout. If you don't want to talk about stuff on stream, but you want to have a chat afterwards, find me on Discord. You can always talk to me on Discord. Don't like to think of people struggling, if I can help. So, that's for sure a thing. Feel free to join Discord and to hunt me down like a dog and poke me. That's alright. Too hot. Far too frigging hot. Ridiculously hot. The UK, currently known as Satan's left ballsack, is in amongst the heat wave. Hang on. According to the weather app, it is only 20 degrees outside and feels like 16. There are two words for that: horse and shit. Hang on one moment, let's do the obligatory test. Alexa, what is the temperature on the downstairs thermostat?
The downstairs thermostat temperature is 27 degrees.
It is 27 degrees centigrade in my house. That's around 90, I think, in freedom units. It is very difficult. So I have my very empty now spray bottle, which I squirt myself with, which does help quite a lot. Yeah, it is, and bits of me that are producing juices that I never knew could. You know, it is not a fun place to be. And this is the problem with houses here in the UK: is they're designed to keep heat in. So once they heat up, they don't cool down quickly. And you know, if you try and open all of the windows, well, all the insects you never knew lived near you are now coming for a visit. And we've had some interesting guests over the years, over the months already, but to be honest, they've kind of taken... The last one took me by surprise, having never seen one. I'd heard them, but not here. And so I didn't know that crickets were that big, because that was the thing that struck me more than... Well, you've got to remember that it wasn't that many years ago. The truth is that the UK never really did get that hot. I remember back when I was a kid, when they used the felt picture of the UK and stuck like fuzzy felt on fuzzy felt temperatures to it, rather than the digital variety. And I remember them having to pick a new colour because we'd got an all-time new high, and I think it was something like 25 or 26 degrees. Now, 34 is not uncommon. Well, it seems to happen every year. 34. Now, I know I'm an old fart, but that's quite a difference. And especially with our humidity. Our humidity is currently around 50%. And that's, of course, outside, let alone inside, where you have been stewing gently. Why is my electricity claiming 16p an hour? Excuse me one moment. Oh, that'll be why. It is. Now, to be honest, how do I explain this well? You've got to remember, because most people don't remember, because, well, England is the land of the bland and boring, that England was a tropical rainforest at one point. And sitting here sweating like a horse, yeah, I believe my geography teacher, I truly do. The reason we have coal mines is because the UK produced coal. And to produce coal, you needed to grow certain kind of rain-loving plants. And yeah, but you see, well, this is it. Most people forget because, well, you know, we are the land of the temperate and the boring. But the truth is that to have coal, like we had quite a lot of in this country till we mined a lot of it, you had to grow the horsetail bush plants, which are the kind of stemmy things with like almost the upside down Christmas trees, right? And to grow those, realistically, it needs to be hot and humid. And for it to do the coal making thing, well, then it needs to have certain environments. And to do that, it meant we were a tropical rainforest. So, while global warming is certainly a thing, you know, I'm not going to pretend that humanity is not doing it harm, because I think you've got to be a little bit dumb to think that we are not making an impact. Are we making the significant impact that they claim we are? Well, that is the more valuable question. Now, I'm a bit on the fence because, as I said, I can't believe we're not making a difference. We have done too many things. We all rely on far too much electricity and all the rest of it, which does not come from green resources. And even a lot of the kind of, quote, greener resources are not as green as they make out. So, and I'm not a green activisty type of person. Hello, everything I own is electrical, so I you know, although I enjoy hobbies that are very unelectrical, well, I need my computer. I mean, hello, light, camera, microphone, big ass computer, kind of over there. Well, actually, it's down there, but that's not the point. That computer costs more than my car's worth. I mean, seriously, it's, you know, it's... So I am not exactly green here, but at the same time, I would like to think that in providing electricity, we are doing it in the best, cleanest way we can. And I, in fact, live very, 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 very near a solar farm. Now, I don't believe they actually provide any of the electricity that I use, because I'm not that stupid. But there is at least a solar farm near here. You can try and pretend that it does. But it is one of those things, is that we drive too much. We fly far too much. Believe me, you do not work for my former employer without understanding just how much none of you people can stay in your own countries, right? It is flabbergasting how much people fly. If you ever want to know, look at Flight Radar. Go to, I think it's flightradar24.com or something, and look at the number of airplanes in the sky, knowing that they all hold like 300 plus people on an average, right? There are a lot of people in the air at any one point in time. And that would be an interesting statistic, actually. how many people are in the air as an approximate at any given time. I wonder if Google knows that. Hang on. Hang on. Fuck me, it's more than I thought. Okay, so at any given moment, there are roughly 800,000 people to 1 million people flying in an aircraft at any given moment. 1 million people in the air trying to defy gravity, right? So with that in mind, it is crazy. And you know, long gone are the days where people would hop on a ferry and say go from the UK to France and drive down to Spain. Oh, well, it takes too long. So now they fly because you can get cheap flights for 27 quid or whatever it is, right? I'm sure it's more than 27 quid. It was 27 quid at one point, but you know how it is, right? Bear in mind, and this is a statistic that is always good for a laugh. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since I have been old enough to own my own passport, I've never left the country. Right? I need to point that out. I am not one of them, okay? Mainly because, well, having worked for someone who makes aircraft, I know these people who make bits. I'm not getting on that. I've met them. But it is one of those things, right, is that it is difficult to cut back, because I remember when COVID hit and there was some woman on the news and she was like, oh, it's so terrible, I should be in Aspen. Really? The world's not going to end because you didn't go skiing, love. Because it, you know, this was in kind of March, so it was late skiing season, right? And then there was kind of like another one. Oh, well, of course, I missed my first holiday due to COVID. I can't believe I've got to miss my next one. And it's like 2 months in. Hey, Bailey, thank you very much. I love you, my friend. Thank you very much. Aww. I'm honoured. Thank you. But yeah, the whole kind of, you know, these people who are mainly... Well, it is, isn't it? It is the, you know, oh dear, Diddums didn't get to go to Aspen or their retreat, the yoga retreat or whatever the hell it was, right? I mean, there were people I felt sorry for. So during COVID, a friend of mine's mother died. She wanted to be buried in Ireland. He couldn't fly out. He was not allowed. So he didn't get to attend the burial. So for people like that, I have a lot of sympathy. But one of the things that did boil my rot a lot while COVID was on was that it is tough, especially as they're a really nice person. So, but one of the things that boiled my rot was while COVID was on, they did an all-hands meeting at work. Bear in mind, I worked for them at this point. 1, 2, 3. And some American bloke, well, had flown to Ireland. Bear in mind, they were under lockdown. During the lockdown period, to give an all-hands meeting that he could have videoed from his desk in America. So him and his entire family flew from America to Ireland just to sit on a camera and talk and fly back again. You know, it and when it, you know, I'm not going to pretend that there aren't things that, you know, make a lot of money and that people are so used to. I mean, one of the things that has, well, it obviously wasn't as bad as ours, right? I mean, to be honest, I joked about it at the time, but if they'd put the police, the army out on the street with guns, it wouldn't have surprised me. Our lockdown was getting that bad that they were almost if you were caught travelling, you had to have papers on you to prove you were allowed to. It was almost the communist Russia kind of level of papers. And I actually had some papers that would allow me to travel, by the way. I did have paper that said I'm a critical worker and that if I was in my car going somewhere, it was necessary, right? But, to be honest, like a lot of things, if people had actually followed the lockdown, COVID would have been over in a month. But it wasn't. And the reason it wasn't was because they didn't. Now, not wishing to cast too many aspersions on my fellow countrymen, but if the gestation period is 11 days and you all stayed indoors for 2 weeks, and if you had any symptoms, you added another 2 weeks on top of that, after 2 weeks, you'd have either all had it or all died from it, and it would have been over. And the losses would have been substantially less. Now, I'm not saying that everyone who got it broke the rules, because of course that's not true. Because of course, you know, we still needed to get shopping, we still needed to go and get prescriptions, we still had to, you know, some of us got forced to go to work. So there were people who, and obviously, you know, health workers and all that, and then their families, and the people who their families worked with, and all these kind of moments, right? But if everyone had stayed indoors for 2 weeks, and then, should you have symptoms, stayed in there, it would have been over within basically 2 weeks, bar the few extras who hung on. Everyone in that house stays on for a bit longer. Once everyone has no symptoms, it is clear, right? But of course, people didn't. People like my old neighbours had parties, and literally the road would turn into a car park, apparently, because people were coming to visit. Oh, well, it's baby's first birthday. Well, I can tell you now, little baby ain't going to remember jack crap of first birthday, so... but I'm pretty sure if the whole family had died, they would remember the fact that they had no family. You know, it's one of those moments. And I do appreciate, for people who are sociable, of which I'm not, it was a horrible time. For people like me, it was the best moments of my life. No, seriously, I absolutely loved lockdown. The fact that there was no expectation by anybody to be anywhere, go anywhere, do anything. Wildlife came out from all its little cubby holes going, is it over? Can we come out now? When you've got pictures of Ealing High Street, now for those who do not know, Ealing is West London, and it's not central London, but it is very busy in Ealing. And there are pictures of deer walking down the High Street. Most people didn't even know there were deer living near Ealing, let alone in Ealing, right? This is how different the world was. And you got to see so much more of nature because it got to come out. And then, of course, it had to run away when we all started propagating the world again. The skies were not full of aircraft. It was blissfully quiet. So it was also arse-numbingly hot, a bit like now. It was, you know, full-scale fan. I bought 2 gym fans to push the hot air out. And that kind of worked. But I still saw 38, 39 degrees in my house during lockdown. That was too hot. That was too friggin' hot. And at that point I had different dogs, so that was a good thing. But it is one of those things, is that lockdown was, it was horrific in a lot of ways, you know, because it was for the reasons that it was. It brought a lot of change, and I think some of them good, some of them bad. It's also like, and it's fairly apt to talk about for this time of year. While the Americans had 9/11, we had 7/7, right? So the day before my birthday, some terrorists decided to try and blow up bits of London. And they kind of succeeded, frankly. There were bombs in Ealing and various other points, right? And things like that changed the world a lot. Spam bot. Let me just report said spam bot for being a spam bot. You know, it takes more for. No, and yeah, the bit that kind of freaked me out, you know how like lots of times you do something and you don't really think about it until after. So, wasn't Ealing. Where did I go? Hang on, let me pull up Google Maps and tell you where I was. Because there was a potential bomb at one of the railway stations, and you'll find out why this is relevant in a minute. Hang on, maps.google.com. I want to go over here. Right, go up a bit. Hang on while I work out where it is. Okay, I'm going to have to do this the hard way. Go into the thing. You have to forgive me, I don't remember exactly what year it was. I think it was the 2 or 3 years later. I think so. It was like 05 or something. Anyway, I was in Edgware. Now, again, northwest London, nowhere in particular, but there had been a bomb at the station. I drove past it in less than a week later, and I didn't realise, because I knew I was going to go up here, turn at this roundabout, go up here, go left, do a bit of this. It was a route I'd done many, many times. Hang on, I'll tell you when 7/7 was. Yeah, 2005. I don't think they did. They had a number of places where where they had, they foiled a lot of places. There was the bus that got blown up on, which kind of made most of the headline news. But there'd been a couple of smaller bombs that had gone off in other places, and Edgware was one of them. And as I say, a week later, I'm driving, and on the way home, I'm doing the reverse route, took the wrong exit off a roundabout. So it's like a roundabout with 5 roads off it. And instead of taking the 5th one, I took the 4th, because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I was getting a bit tired, took the wrong one. And my brain kind of went, this isn't the right road. Oh, well, it'll work out. Maybe I'm being stupid, because we all know that sometimes, especially at night, roads don't look the same going both directions. Maybe I'm being stupid, right? So I then realised as I pass the railway station, I've gone the wrong way. I'm definitely on the wrong road. Now I know where I am, but I don't know the quickest route between where I am and where I want to be, other than turning around and going back the way I came. But I was really conscious that, you know, not even a week later, I am passing where this happened. And it really hadn't dawned on me as I was going to the bigger roundabout that that's how close I'd been. It really hadn't. It really didn't dawn on me. And it's a bit like the people who went somewhere and missed it by 15 minutes. Well, and that's the other thing, you know. Especially if you're so used to seeing it full of traffic and now it's empty. Or the other way round. It's normally empty and now it's full. They can look really different. And so, yeah, it really kind of caught me off guard. Just how close I'd been to where this bomb had been. And, you know, I was nowhere near in danger, but, well, maybe if I had. I mean, what if there'd been another package and they didn't know? What if they'd missed it, right? Now, obviously I didn't particularly worry about it because, well, I got home and but it was only as I kind of passed it for the second time, my brain's going, hang on, there was a bomb here last week. It's like, what? I shouldn't be here. Why isn't this cornered off? You know. Definitely not pleasant. So Bailey, as a fellow Bretonian, how are you coping with the heat? Yeah, you and me both, darling. You and me both. I may have to go and fill up my spray bottle. I highly recommend this particular spray bottle from Amazon, as it does a very fine mist. And what you do is you grab it, you squirt it at your face and any less covered parts of yourself, so arms, etc. And even without a fan, although with a fan it's even better, it really, really does help. Because it's such a fine mist, it evaporates really quite quickly. And as a result of evaporating quite quickly, it's got a very... I think we all do, especially here in England. Bitching about the heat is a national pastime at the moment. And as I said, Bailey, it's currently Satan's left ball sack here. I'm sure you appreciate that one. As someone with ample frontage, I could cook meat underneath there. Oh, right now, I'd trade places. I would rather be cold than hot, because you can always add more blankets and stoke the fire. When you have no air conditioning, all you can do is bitch. It is all that is left to you. I am so contemplating whether it's worth getting an aircon, especially now I work from home. I mean, I don't know what it is. It definitely gets hotter in the evening. It does not cool down in the evening. Yeah, I can understand that. Definitely understand that. But, oh dear. One of the... Oh, don't get me wrong. I hate being cold too, because my hands get really painful. You know, if I go and pick something out of the fridge, I can't hold, not the freezer, just the fridge. I can't hold it for long because it makes my hands hurt so much. So believe me, I well relate to being a bit of a baby about the cold. But at the same time, dear God alive, is it hot and miserable. You know, I've got blankets and a fire and central heating. I can deal with the cold. I've got a fan. It's a pretty good fan. But all it's doing is moving hot air around. I need an air conditioning unit, and we don't generally have them over here. So I am exceptionally tempted to fork out for one. Just because I'm here all day, every day. If I still worked in an air-conditioned office, not that the workplace I worked at for the last 20 years has air conditioning. Please do not think that we have air conditioning. It had marginally cooled recycling air. So it was very good at spreading germs around because, you breathed in one end and everyone else got it. But it was not air conditioning, but it did cool it a little in the summer, but not a lot. And it didn't really warm it in the winter either, because the buggers wouldn't turn the heating on till 8 o'clock in the morning, and we had single pane glass, no double glazing, so any tiny wafts of heat that you'd managed to trap in had long since left the building. And well, of course, if it's -5 outside, well, it's now -5 inside, and they've only just turned the heating on when you're turning up to work. So pretty much by the time it's warmed up with all of the poorly fitting single pane glass, you're going home. So, and then it repeats all over again, especially after the weekend. That was cruel. That was the ultimate in cruel, to be honest. Did I twist these? No, I didn't. Doof. Doofus. But yeah, moaning about the heat is definitely a British pastime at the moment, and the right thing to do about it, because, dear Lord, it's just not reasonable. Now, if we earned salaries like the Americans get, I could afford to run an air conditioning unit. 1, 2, 3, 4. But as we don't, but it is something I am contemplating. Just to make, even if it's just this one room, slightly more tolerable. The problem is, I need to leave the door open so the dogs can go outside and wee, which of course negates the point of an air conditioning unit, because trying to cool the country a little chunk at a time isn't really going to work, is it? So yeah, that I just kind of, it is too much. It is absolutely too much at the moment. And it's one of those things, is lots of people go, oh, well, you know, we get those temperatures and humidities. Yeah, you probably do. Yeah. Well, my dogs are irritating as hell, in that they won't ask to go out. They know that out is where they should go, but they won't ask to go out. They'll just go for a drink in the kitchen and have a poop or a pee on the way back. And, well, by the time you kind of, didn't they just have a drink? Where are they? It's too late. The deed has already been done. And other than electrifying it so that should they perform some bodily function on my carpet, they, get, 2400 volts up the jacksie or whatever. Well, nothing deters them because, of course, you never catch them actually doing it. But they know they're supposed to go outside. Of course they do. But why go outside when it's raining, when it's, or the door's not out? Why, what, well, we can just go here. It won't matter. So they do. So I have to have the door open, which is how all the bugs get in, because, well, otherwise, when they want to go out, I won't be necessarily, leaping up every 20 seconds, because we all know that that's a dog thing. I want to go in, I want to come out, I want to go in, I want to go out, I want to go in, I want to go out. There's only so many times a day you're going to do that before losing your rag with them. And you can bet the one time you go, look, you've been out 423 times today, and you literally have just been out, you can't need to go again, is the one time they go and leave some chocolate mousse contraption of the most stinky variety in your hall floor. So, yeah, you don't have a lot of choice. They kind of have you over a barrel with that one. But it is stupidly hot. Pardon me. Hello! I think that's a good finishing line. Mainly because I didn't do dots to do any further down. I could put another layer of dots in and do another row. Yeah, let's do another row of, let's give it a bit more. I don't know why I'm really that bothered. It's one of those, hey, I could do this. Why? Why would you do this to yourself? Now, where did my bag go? There's a bag. Right. Make the decision now. Do it now. Do it, do it, do it. Chop them off. Stop being indecisive. Right. So, I need a pair of scissors. And to chop you. Put you in the bag. Hey, Naughty Kilt, how hot are you? And if you say not very, you may get things thrown at you by people. And I might start it. There. About there. Chop. Chop. Not TV. Alright, Bailey, I'll come and get you. We are going for a recce down to Nordkalt's. I believe death is in order. How dare you be having cloudy and rain. They promised me rain. They promised me rain at 1:42 p.m. It did not happen. There was not a cloud in the sky and there was no chuffety rain. And I need rain. I'd pay money for rain. It is just not good. So. I mean, we got a bit of wind, which is nice, but all it is pushing the hot air around. It's not doing anything useful. So it's like God has farted, you know. All it's done is piped some hot air about. I didn't sleep. Bastard. Exactly. Seriously, if there were a herd of the buggers out back, I'd be out there now going banshee on it. If I really thought it would work. If there was a rain... If prancing around my garden singing, you know, kind of voodoo-style rain dance type thing, shaking dried beans in a tin or something, would bring on rain, I'd be out there. Christ, I'd do it on national television if it would help. It is not. It is just too hot for this crap. So yes. It is not a good thing. It is not good for anybody. And it's not good for my computer either. My computers have been really miserable due to the heat. So, like, for example, over the weekend, the camera was working properly. All my buttons worked and everything. Doesn't work again now. And I have no idea why. Doesn't work again. Worked for 2 days. Admittedly, I didn't reboot in between, but it worked for one of the days, and now it don't again now. After all that effort I put in about getting all the camera commands working. Oh, I'd kill for some rain like that right now. I'd go and stand outside in it. To be honest, I want an Armageddon level thunderstorm. I want one of those kind of splitting the sky in two level kind of things where, you know, it sounds like you should fear for your life, and that briefly Noah will paddle past you on his way to pick up, you know, a couple of animals for his boat, right? I want rain. Because, of course, now they're talking hosepipe bans. For those who are not British, hosepipe bans are something we do in the UK far too much, to be honest, considering we are a pissing little island. I mean, if places like the middle of America can get water to it, why is it we can't get water from the sea to the middle and reduce and yank some salt out of it? Desalination plants are not complicated, people. But for some reason we don't do that. We just have hosepipe bans. So the hosepipe ban is exactly as it sounds. You are not allowed to water your garden or basically fill paddling pools, swimming pools and the like, because, well, there isn't enough water to go around. As I said, we're a fucking little island. Seriously, what do you mean there isn't enough water? We're surrounded by it. And as I said, I do appreciate that it's got salt in it. But if you boil it and collect the water that comes off, the water that comes off hasn't got the salt in it. So you do that, and then you can flog the salt and use it and use it to grit the roads in the winter, and you get water to the peoples who need to drink it, when they need it. It's really not that hard. But never mind. Yeah, it does. And then, you know, we get flooding and you know, too much water. So we're never happy, right? I mean, there is a reason why Australians would call us whinging poms, right? And the answer is because we are not happy. We have one of the most temperate... Well, they kind of do, but they also kind of don't. Because one of the things that you've also got to understand is that nearly every water company in the UK is losing millions of gallons a day due to leaks. But that's our fault because we're watering the gun. It's always been one of those things that there are lots of things we British moan about. Weather is one of them. The roads are another. The price of petrol. And the thing is we are not wrong. The problem is we live... Thank you for the follow. one of the things that is difficult here in the UK is that because we are so used to a very temperate weather, the moment it gets too hot, the moment it gets too cold, the moment it gets too windy, the moment it gets too wet, too cold, too this, too that, we just don't know what to do with it because we're not used to it. And so it is little miss, oh, you bought me the wrong iPhone, right? You bought me the wrong colour iPhone, or you bought me the wrong model car for my birthday, kind of first world issues in that respect, because frankly, we don't actually have that much to moan about. We do, and the problem is we rarely get it. Sounds really stupid, but we actually rarely get the actual reasonable day that is not wet, because the Goldilocks weather can't, you're allowed to rain overnight, but you don't want to rain during the day when we want to do stuff. So, the actual Goldilocks days of weather are few and far between. There is always something for us Brits to moan about. It's too windy, it's too wet, it's too hot, it's too dry, it's snowing, it's hailing, there's been a frost and now no one in their right mind can seem to drive. And this of course becomes part of the problem, is that because we don't normally get interesting weather, we don't get people who can drive in interesting weather. So, people sit in their car with their air conditioning on and, oh, it's great. But the moment they get into a traffic jam, well, then their car overheats because it's trying to cool them down, and or they haven't taken care of it. And then they, and then they get moany, and or in the winter, because they don't carry any bits in their car in case they get stuck in the cold, they then start freezing to death because, well, they've not got anything to keep them warm, and no provisions, and so we do love to have a good moan. It is a national pastime. We are a nation of legendary moaners, but it is because if you lived in a world, like, no offence to Holland, Holland's fairly flat, right? So lots of people cycle in Holland. But if you went from Holland to Switzerland, where there's lots of mountains, well, it's going to be really hard for you because, well, now there's like these hills and mountains and shit, and they're not subtle either. Well, you're not used to it. And that is the problem, is that we are not used to so many of the aspects that can come along. Yeah. Lots of people used to carry jugs of water to put in their car when it overheated. Lots of people used to carry spare cans of petrol. Lots of people used to carry snacks, and there'd be a ubiquitous tin of shit in the glove compartment. There would be something, right? People don't these days. Well, I mean, my cars have inevitably got some blankets in and stuff, so that should I get stuck in the cold, it's not a problem. When Trev had to have an operation on his eye, it was kind of wintry, and I didn't know how long he'd be. And the first time round, I got the blankets out and I kind of snuggled down, and I was chillier than I liked, but it wasn't so bad. And that was just for the prep and the, pre-op kind of stuff. Well, so when we went for round 2 and he actually had the operation, I had some heated socks to help keep my feet warmer. And I would have been good for about 6 to 7 hours in my gut, because it was not quite COVID, but they were still not really encouraging people to come in, with people, so I had to wait outside. So I snugged down in the car, a couple of blankets, and, had a snooze. Scared the living crap out of me when he was done quicker than I really expected, because he was out again in about 90 minutes. And scared the crap out of me, and then scared the crap out of himself, because he'd come out and he had a cataract operation. So he had an eye patch, and he thought he had like a black pirate patch. It was clear. And I kept staring at it, and he's like, what the fuck are you looking at? I went, your eye. And he went, well, it's covered. And I went, no, it's not. Yeah, it is. And I went, no, it's not. I can see it. And I was reading the information that he'd got been given and all the rest of it. And it was really amusing for me, because he honestly couldn't, you know, because they'd anaesthetised and poked some stuff in it and done all the things that they'd done, his brain had kind of switched off seeing through that eye. So as far as he was concerned, that eye was shut. But it wasn't. It was... Because when he first came back to the car, I didn't think it had been done. Because it was so clear and he walked past, I just saw Trev walking past. And I'm like, oh, that was quick. Did they kick you out? Because, you know, you can be a little bit difficult. Hello, I recognise those thoughts. I'm no better. To be honest, you'd have to catch me to have a cataract operation. Because, of course, they do them with you awake. You can do any operation you like to me asleep. Seriously, really don't care. If you need to chop a bit out, chop a bit off, yep, fine, knock me out, do it, done, and I won't fight you. You want me awake? I'm only really squeamish about two things. Now, to be honest, I've had a couple of operations that I'd love to see the videos of. I really would. Because I am that kind of weird. But there's also... I'm squeamish about eyeballs and brains. It's the only thing I'm actually squeamish about. Eyeballs, brains. My theory about this works as follows. If you consider the human body, your memories are in your head. You hear with your head. You speak with your head. You see with your head. Your head is you. The rest of you is just the kind of biomechanically moving you around and functioning portion. It is not you. It is just the meat slab your head rests upon. No, I have not watched a man with two brains too much. But if you actually think about it, everything that really constitutes you is in your head. How you feel, who you care for, the memories, all of it is in your head. And so my squeamishness comes from the fact that I protect this with my soul. For this is me. Rightly or wrongly, for good or for bad, this is me. My body and all the... my body, yeah, you can kind of do what you like to that. My brains, my eyeballs, however, it's one of those questions that people often throw at kind of either weird parties, interview questions, or whatever. What sense would you either fear to lose the most or least mind losing? I would hate not to be able to hear again, because I've already lost that once in my life for a while. And so I would miss it. I really would. But I can still do an awful lot of things with no hearing. I'm cool with that. Sense of touch. That leads to an awful lot of complications. You have to check yourself medically every morning, noon and night. The slightest thing can... The only good thing is, of course, is you can never feel hot and you never feel cold and you never have another itch ever again. But you also don't feel anything good, so it's not really a winner. Smell. I've smelt some of the things that come out my dog. I could live without some of that. It would be annoying. I really would rather not, but, it's a thing. I could cope with that. Hang on, just thinking of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, because that's how I remember the senses there are. So, it's hear, feel, taste, see, smell, right? Taste. I like tasting things. But again, maybe I'd lose a bit more weight. It could be done. Seeing. Seeing is my weakness. Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that there are many blind and wonderful people living perfectly good and healthy lives. But because I have been able to see, I know I would miss that the most. I wouldn't be able to do things like this. And if I couldn't do this, I couldn't really watch TV. I could listen to it, I couldn't really watch it. Now, you can have subtitles on so you can watch it without sound, but you can't really watch a film without... you can sometimes get voiceover stuff explaining what's going on. It's not really the same, you know? So I definitely would miss Iceland the most. And it's a very strange conversation, I realise that. But it's one of those things. And so, eyeballs and brains. I am very sensitive about eyeballs and brains. And, yeah. You want to operate on my eyeballs? You better be knocking me out or I will fight you like a cat. I will turn into the cat hissing in a basket. You will have to catch me. And it's nothing personal. You just will have to catch me and I will fight you for it. Because, yeah, I might turn up to the building, but you are not coming at me with that needle, because I'm also needle phobic. You are not coming me with a needle right at my eyeball. Just no, you know? No, not happening. Not happening. Reminds me, when was Trev going to have the other one done? I'm sure that was a while ago. I'm sure we were supposed to be having the other one done. Scooch you over. You. Let's move you out the way. Yes. Oh. Having some form of emergency kind of fund thing, especially drinking water, blankets, in your car is a good thing. A little camping stove and some snacks you can cook are also good, but obviously they're not likely to be fresh things, but all it takes is a little pot and a can opener and something in the can, because canned goods last for a really long time. You can do quite a lot of wonders with canned goods. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3. 3. You get to move over that way a little bit. Now, why do you look funny? So you're 1, 2. It's because I need to do another layer of you, that's why. Okay, so why is there... Something is not right. Something is not right. Once again, it's too far for me to really see what is not right with it. Let me look. So let's undo you. Because something is wrong back here somewhere. So let's undo you. Oh. Something else that doesn't work very well in hot weather. My hips. Yeah, you two should go to make up this one. This. And you're too long, because you're falling off the line. And you're a bit long. Which gives us the 3 for that. Stop rolling! Infinitely annoying bobbins. It's too hot for annoying things. You get to go in there. That. Actually, you can see. I need to peel off some of you because you're all too long and you're getting longer. Because look at you. See, you have just decided to come undone because you're annoying. And you're too long. And you're too long. You're too long. Right. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to put you back on a stick for a minute, just to keep you out of the way. And then I'm going to move you. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. You see, I need you to start with. I'm going to move you 2. So, you're the first pair down. So, nope, you're supposed to. Why is this not right? So let's undo you a second to work out what the hell is wrong with you. Right. Will you stop rolling? Been very good about not rolling until today. Today is not the day for rolling. Right. You go like that. You go like that. I keep getting adverts for a particular band on short videos at the moment. And one of the people looks really familiar and I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I've seen the advert for this thing like 5,000 times. But they're kind of a heavy metal but not group. And I don't really know what to call it. They're called Imperial Age or something. Imperial something. And, you know, they're kind of a bit gothy to look at, which, whatever. And it's kind of... It's like Viking music, but kind of a bit metally. Which is kind of weird and hard to explain. But I don't know why it keeps trying to show me it, because literally it's like every third post, except for if I wanted it. Because if I wanted it now, I wouldn't find it, you know? And I was trying to work out the lyrics, and my brain's been still trying to work out the lyrics, because I don't know the name of the song, which of course doesn't help. But the words are quite... You know how, like, sometimes you listen to a song and all the words are crystal clear except for one? There'll be, like, one... You know... It's a bit like... Now, you have to forgive me. I was a chorister. Our eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. It is not our eyes, because our rise is not the words. It's our eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. But you end up with our eyes have seen, and you're going, what? But it's not something that obvious, right? So there's like this bit, and it's kind of like, for the glory of the coming of the greatness of the thing, of the thing, of the thing. Centuries. What's centuries got to do with it? And so my brain's trying to work out what the hell they're singing about. And then it's something about your brain. And then my brain's going, what are they singing about? Let me see if I can Google it. No, it's not them. Could be them. No, it's not them. Imperial Age, that's the one. I think. I might explain it. Their song's primarily in English, but they're Russian. Yeah, that could be it. That could definitely sort out why it doesn't entirely make sense. It's a bit like ABBA. In case you didn't know, the reason ABBA songs had a bit slightly off lyrics is they didn't know what they were singing about. Could be that one. Could be. They've got one called The Legacy of Atlantis, and they've got another one called Imperial Age. And looking at Imperial Age, that could be it. Death is the only war. Okay. Do you have her? This is it. So let me share this with you. So, it's this path of no return, something like that, and then it's quite near the beginning. It's kind of weird. I'm going to see if I can find the lyrics to that. There we go. Okay, so the words that I were after says, the wheel is rolling on and on, this is the path of no return. A chain of births and deaths unties centuries. See, it doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't say 4 centuries. No, it's just centuries. And then, because some of the words are a little bit mumbled, the next bit goes, a crowd of spirits that were slain are now deep inside your brain. All that you have considered you is not true, right? So that bit makes sense. But it's the centuries. You hear the centuries and you're going, what? What's that got to do with it? What? I actually don't dislike it. I'm not going to say that, out of all the things that, have been recommended to me by Facebook and the like, and I wish they'd stop sending me shit for Milton Keynes because I don't can live there. Stop it. But I don't hate it. It was just one of those, I don't get it. I don't understand what a century's got to do with it. I mean, there's been a few. I mean, that's a thing. But yeah, it's not unpleasant. It's just a little weird. I've heard of Sabaton. I mean, I'm not saying I'd recognise anything they've done. But it is like, it's not unpleasant. It's got a familiar feel in some respect, but at the same time it's kind of, well, a bit weird. It's clearly like a bunch of role players got and had a bit of a band, but yes, Bailey, thinking of you. But it is a little like a bunch of role players got together. Really? I saw another moth. It's not even dark out. seeing you. Will you stop it? You keep flapping around down there, but you disappear when I actually look for you. I do see you come out of your little hole. It's like a little crab from inside a hole. It pops out behind things and then disappears when you go to look at it. But yeah, basically Facebook's been spamming that song the crap out of me for quite a while. And it's not that I hate it, but at the same time, I never asked for it. As I say, they keep trying to tell me I live in Milton Keynes, which I absolutely don't. But that was my problem. It's the word centuries, because it's almost like we had to fill in a bit. I'll say the word centuries in the hole. It did. You know, it was like, I told you a story of things gone wrong, and I told you things of promise and song. Oh shit! I need an next word. This'll do. And then it just kind of didn't really fit. It's. I mean, it doesn't not fit, but it kind of doesn't really fit. It's just a word. As I say, it's not like I hate it. It's just. I'd say that the lyrics probably would have sounded better maybe in the original, although that is the original language. I think maybe that's not the word they were hitting for. Maybe they were looking. Centurions might have fitted better, but that doesn't kind of fit as well. Warriors or something, but you know, it's it just doesn't quite fit. But I'd never have guessed it was the wheel goes on and on for the chorus. The word wheel was not very well pronounced, but... If they'd made it the wheel of life goes on and on, then yes, that would have fitted quite well, but they didn't. It's just the wheel goes on and on. That's a good point. Where's my pin pot? Oh, there it is. Blind woman. I wonder where my pin pot is. It's here. Sitting, waiting patiently for me. I really must learn to sit without sitting with my feet jammed up under things so that they start going to sleep. Because it can't be doing me any good to have all of the loss of blood flow to my feet. Yeah. One thing we have done, which is quite good, is that depending on the motif that we pick, as a general rule, looking at the fact that this bobbin, for example, is one of the skinniest amounts left on it, which really doesn't go as far as you might think, and I'll show you in a minute, because, what shall I show you now? If I undo this bobbin, I know it's a little early, but if I show you that that's all the thread that's on it, so that goes from, you know, that's not a lot of thread, right? It looks a lot more on the stick until you actually come to need it, kind of thing, right? So with that in mind, have fun. But we've worked out that 1.5 meters, because I'm pretty sure we put 1.5 meters on. I did write it down somewhere. Does half a strip. So 3 meters is what I'll need to make a 1 meter strip. And have some left for tying of knot and general shenanigans. So 3 meters will be about the right amount, which is good. We like this. It means we know how much to wind on when we come to make the real thing. Because of course we won't be doing it in chunks, we'll be doing it in one big long piece of joy. So 3 meters will be about the right amount, which is good, because then we don't have to wind on 58 meters of stuff and worry that we've not got enough, or that we've got too much and that we're wasting it. Now, this was something that keeps coming up on a lot of the lace boards, is how to determine how much thread you'll need. And the answer really is is it truly so much depends. For all the cloth stitch backwards and forth you do, the pair that go backward and forward obviously need quite a bit, because in quite a short period of time they're doing a lot of trips and will chew through a lot of thread. The other aspects, so normal bobbins, you know, making a bit of a mesh, it's a fairly straight path. So don't need a huge amount of spare. So, you know, it makes it very difficult to predict exactly. I just realised I fucked up. When I went around this, those ones weren't supposed to go there. They were the other half of these bobbins are supposed to meet up, and I've tied some off. Bollocks to it, doesn't really matter. It's the end of the piece, and we're not particularly auditioning the snakes, so this snake's going to look a little deformed, but that's okay. Oh, I need to twist them. Well, arse is the short answer to that. That's a shame. Worst thing is I remember not finishing it too. But only now do I remember that I deliberately left it. Will you go over the top of that one? To come back and finish. Only now. Now I've screwed it up, of course. Yeah. See, how is that not right? Because that's not right either. Will you stop rolling? What is wrong with this? Why is it so leany? You're a bit long, but not a lot. You're a bit short. Tin. You two were supposed to meet here. Corner. Then you come down here like this. This makes more sense. Snap the ladder up. Even though we are fudging it, it will add up, so that's fine. Because you now meet the corner. Okay. Excuse me. Oh, drinking too much. I need to douse myself. Getting a bit overly warm. Yes, it sounds like a lot, but it really doesn't squirt a lot of water at a time. It just makes a really fine mist of it. So you do kind of sound like you're having a bit of a shower and you're not. But I am now beautifully dampened, allowing my brain cells to function briefly once more. Maybe if I'd done that sooner, I wouldn't have made such a stupid mistake. But there we go. Such is life. It's done now. And in theory, I could potentially undo the knots and go back and fix it. But I'm not going to. It is too near the end, it is not important, and it's not the real thing, so. If it were, I would be because I don't want to screw up in my curtain that I'm going to, if I can help it. It's the fact that I tied it off that really kind of seals its fate, to be honest. It's difficult to undo the knots because, well, they're knots, that's what they're for. I want to and then I want to open that and click on that. There you go. Right. Your tool. My friends, it is complicated in the head. I have not got the brain power for this. And you know how much I love dealing with people who don't think at work. I had more of it today. Someone goes, is this ticket this? No, it's not that. Okay. An hour later, someone else goes, oh, can I help you with this ticket because it's related to this? No, it's not. I told you that an hour ago. It's frigging not. Oh, I won't get involved tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's one is the most likely thing you'll need. But, hey, you know, let's not worry yourself about it. And if they didn't know how to fix it, which, well, I can tell you they don't, you could try Google, because pretty much paste the text in from the ticket and it tells you how to do it. hang on, didn't do these right. Because it was supposed to be you. I got an itch. Ah. Nearly there, my friends, nearly there. Oh. Nearly there, people. Nearly. Very, very nearly. Only 2 more things to tie off. Go me. Handful of stitches to go. Last stitch, dudes. Last stitch. Well, of this strip, anyway. Right. Don't know why I was looking for a pin then. I just need to tie it off. And pull out a load of pins. So, there we go. Right, I've got a very heavy bag of pretty bobbins, and I've got no, I stopped it up, no. In that case, that way around like that, and then we trim, because we don't need tails on it, like that. Trim. We get our pot of pins and we start pulling pins out. going to guess I'm not getting enough salt in the hot weather. Bits of me are complaining, which of course is something that, for those of you who are not aware, your body requires more salt in the hot weather because you're sweating it out. It's kind of obvious when you think about it. And if you don't get enough salt, for all of those on a low sodium diet, unless you're medically told to do it, it can be a very bad idea. Now, it's not ridiculously bad because, like everything, moderation is a thing. So, you know, don't be Trev and eat the Hawaiian salt lamp I bought him. But the truth is your body requires salt. And as part of requiring salt, you have to eat some. Because if you do not, you'll get cramp. And one of the last cramps you'll ever have is a heart attack. So, my friends, please be aware that your body does require salt. And you should get... should you start getting minor cramps, please have some. I'd hate to lose you all just because you didn't have a bit of salt on your food. Now, I clearly put pins in this end, this one, and there's the other. Because I couldn't lift this up. See if it's making my finger really sore, look. It doesn't normally make my finger this sore, I think it's because it's just hot. Everything's slightly swollen. One of the things that always does irk me is in quite a lot of the lace videos, they get to the end and they just rip, and you can hear it ripping pins out of the cushion. It does a lot of damage. And part of the reason I'm so nice to these especially is these are not brand new. These are very much second hand, and it's not that they come pre-damaged, because, well, to an extent sort of some of them have, but part of the reason they get to live this long is because you take care of them. If they were still making them like this, which they don't seem to do for some reason, even though everyone seems to like them, if you can replace it easily and it's fairly inexpensive, abusing it is not really that big of an issue. But when it can cost like £132 to get one of these, this did not cost that. I was very lucky. But realistically, I've seen far more for far less, if you know what I mean. With that in mind, it then does become important to take care of it, because you don't know when they're going to come on the market. You don't know what state they're going to be in. I mean, this one's not perfect in that these teeth have got quite a bit of wear on them in some places. which is slightly disappointing. But, you know, like everything, if you take care of it, it will last longer. And if it costs a lot and you can't easily replace it, that is should be all of the incentive you need to do so. I mean, if I could get a new one for 20 quid, yeah, fine. You know, abuse away, because, you know, it's less than the price of a pizza. But when it costs, you know, that kind of money, they'll give it a bit of care and it'll last a long time. So, let's have a look. Oh. Okay, let me bring up my camera app so I can zoom in, because the app still works. It's just that nothing else does, right? So, I need... So the camera app's decided that its default size is full screen, so I can't see what you can see. Okay, so this doesn't look too bad. Don't hate on this. Kind of weird. I kind of like it, but because of the way these have lined up, they were too close together. It makes it look like there's a line between them, which I don't kind of like. So I'd have to be careful if I was doing something in the real world. This is okay. Now, if you consider, let's get its friend. So, put that over there. Test strip number 1. I can have them side by side. So, test strip number 1 had this one in it. Kind of much like this one. I really quite like that. I'm quite drawn to that at the moment. I'm not hating on these, but they kind of blur in a little bit much. I mean, they don't quite so much in real life, but I think they kind of do in general terms. This, again, not so keen. It was a bit fussy. This, which is basically invisible to you at this point, I quite like. This turned out all right. This did turn out pretty nice. Eye of Sauron. I don't like the hole. Don't like the buttonhole look to it. And then there's a mini cathedral arch at the end, which obviously is the smaller version of its bigger brother here. Look. So that's a littler one. That's a slightly bigger one. The pretty star thing. This does look better. Now it's not so big. But it still looks a bit scraggly. Although these two had slightly different cloth stitch diamonds to those. This looks okay. This is the only one of the diamond ones. So pretty much this and this, which is basically this with a diamond around it, are the only two I actually really like on this strip. Out of this strip, really like this one. Really like this one. Quite like that. But we're really after a big and a small. So I may have to do this one a bit bigger. And see how it goes. But I think it might look a bit much if it's got the 4 big holes in it. I quite like it as a medium. So we're still kind of puzzled as to what makes a big one. And I don't think this is the answer. But it's got to be fairly complicated because, I mean, I could do this. Don't flop over. It's because the fan's blowing on it. I could do this a lot bigger, but I think that's a bit boring. Now, I could do this inside something more like this. To have this kind of border, but with that on it. But I don't really want to. So, I think before I do the next strip, I've got to come up with some decisions. I also seem to have really fudged the edge a couple of places along here. I don't know quite how I did it. but in essence, I think they're just not as twisted and as flat as they should be. But we will have to join them to the other 3, and this will give us 5/6 of the width of my window. So if I zoom out, hang on, there you go. So in the longer term of window, if these were all 1 metre long, 1 more would be the width of my window. It's really not a lot, is it? It's not. Bear in mind, I'm only making stuff to cover the panel, so there is potential to add a 7th one on the end to make it more the width of the window. But I do think that the snakes could be a little bit much. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit, but without... There you go. I think having snakes all the way down all 7 would be a bit much. So I don't know. I'm still at a bit of a loss. I mean, this is the original strip. It's upside down because technically it goes that way around. Not that it hugely matters. But if I put it next to these, it's easier to judge them together. Because they are technically symmetrical, so it shouldn't really matter. But I think if we replace these with that and stuck to something like this, I don't think I've got... Right, so on the end of my next strip, which is this one, we've got a monstrously huge cathedral arch. So we've got the next size up from this, which will be basically not quite as big as this. It's still one smaller, so it's still this sort of size, which is, again, not ideal. We really do need something bigger. So we do have the ability to draw on this strip, because as you can see, it's only got 3 things on it. So I could draw on some bigger things to do, to make the 3rd strip anyway. I do need to join these 2 to these 3. But I think, to be honest, it's not looking bad. It's not. You know, I'm not displeased with that. I'm really not. Problem is I can't see for the light, but I need the light on. I can't see where the bottom of the lace is on the photo. Now let's just take a photo of it and hope. Let's go there and see what happens. Oh, that's on. That's alright. I can just trim that out a bit. Trim that out a little bit. So we need to rotate it and crop it. There. That's good. And obviously we want to take a picture of this. you and your friend. So, there we go. Now's the time for questions. If you've got any questions, do hit me up with questions. If you don't hit me up with questions, I won't answer any questions because I don't know what they are. So, if you have any questions, shout now. But I'm feeling really pleased with how these are turning out. I like how light and airy they are, especially compared to the squares. The squares feel quite bulky and heavy in comparison, so these feel very lace curtainy and delicate. Not that I'm delicate. The next three things are, so we've got a big cathedral arch, we've got a diamond, which I'm not going to do the rose ground starts and stops, but the diamond with a tally in the middle. Fucking hate tallies. And then like a Bedfordshire cross in the middle. We need to think of something. Something that can go in a strip. I did see a very beautiful piece of lace work this evening on Facebook, which, see if I can do you a boomer thing, see if I can find it, which is potentially, let's see if I can find it, because I don't think it's in this one. There was a lady who posted something and it was absolutely out of this world. Hang on. Search for nice posts. That's pretty. So, although this is kind of my nightmare, this is not the one I had in mind. But that's kind of really pretty. But that's not the one I was looking for. Hang on. Let's see if I can find the one that I saw. Because this truly was something special that I know you guys would go, oh my god. The problem, like all things on Facebook, that's pretty, but that's not it. Search for posts I've seen. It was so beautiful, why can I not find it? Oh look, someone's been doing my snakes. I only saw it today. Come on, recent. Come on. I saw it today. And yet Facebook is hiding it from me. Where can I view my activity? No. It's pretty recent ad activity. No, I want actual activity. They've made it so hard to find shit these days. More. No. Oh, the worst thing is I know you would love it, and I'm so determined to find it. This is getting worse than Outlook. You can't seem to find mails in Outlook these days. You hit search and it goes, no, I've not got any of those. And yet, you know, before it whisked it off the stream, it was there and you could see it, right? Can't seem to sort it either. I just hate the way it won't show you it in bloody order. I know it was today. But of course, this is the other thing. It may have shown it to me today, but it doesn't mean it was posted today. That's pretty, but that's not it either. This truly was wonderful. And I posted on it. But is it going to... Unless she likes it, it's not going to show up, you know? That's really pretty, but that's not it either. That's definitely not it. One I've looked at, and it wasn't here, I'm sure of it. Problem is if I do find it again, I'm not going to have you guys around to show. So this is why this is infuriating, because I saw it just before stream. And like everything, you've got to sort it and change the sort order on everything, and you can't sort the order of the posts that go on your main page anymore, so you can't even just scroll back through them in order and find things that you previously saw before, because, well, it's just not gonna be there, you know. and I don't remember which group it was in, but I'm not in that many lace groups, and I've just been through them all and didn't find it. But I know it was on Facebook. Maybe it was on here. It was a big circular thing, and it was absolutely a thing of beauty. Hang on. This must be the group it was in. I swear this is the group it has to have been in. And you'll understand when I find it, if I find it at this rate, because this definitely looks like the right group, but it's got very similar things, but it's not bringing up this one thing. And I know I commented on it earlier today, so you'd think when I say sort by recent activity that it would have been at the top, but apparently not. I mean, I know this is not a very good picture of it, but this is, you know, something like that would be nice as a curtain, but I haven't got the paint, I haven't got the patience for that. See, that showed up today, so I'm still convinced this is the right group. I just need to find the right one, if you know what I mean. Do you remember at one point I was thinking of doing kind of a rectangle and chasing it around? That's kind of what I meant. So you make a thinnish bit, but you go round and round and round. I thought about doing that. Where is this wretched photo? Because this truly was utterly gorgeous. Yeah, you bite me. That will help, Amy. Yeah, that'll make me find it quicker. The problem is you see a picture and you remember the picture, you don't remember who posted it, the date it actually bothered to post it, because the number of times that Facebook goes, oh, or YouTube's worse for this, oh, so-and-so's just released a video, yeah, I watched it 3 days ago when they actually released it. I get very frustrated with that. Oh, new post, no it's not, I've already watched that. Where is this fucking thing? Because this is definitely the right kind of group for it. Okay. Come on, activity log, it doesn't take that long. See, this was this morning. So it's funny how it shows me things that I went to. Hello, clicking on it. No, you're not going to do that. You visited this, but it won't take me to the post. So, let me have a look. And then the next thing it's got is me looking for it, and so I know I responded to it because I wrote it's beautiful. Let's see if my PC will find it, because maybe I've only got the history of my phone on the history of my, you know, of workings on my phone. Let me open Facebook. Shouldn't be, it should be all of my history after all. Not what I wanted. Comments. There you go. So let me zoom this up and show you this, because my friends, you will understand the thing of beauty that is this. You don't have to be a lace maker to kind of oogle this one. So bear with me one moment. Share my desktop. Move it over. There you go. Look at this picture. Look at the detail of this circle. I suppose I can see it. Save this point. Yes, I would like to save it. Right. Look at how... I love how... It looks a lot like kind of the lace motifs you get, where they make a band and they go round and round and they do lots of things. But there's like a big one, and then in between towards the middle there's like smaller bands of kind of wiggly bits. But then towards the outside you've got these filled in, not quite fleur-de-lis, but you know, getting close. Along the outside and a little bit up towards the middle, and I really like how that's done. I'd love to know how that's done. And it's clearly not as big as you think it is. I mean, that looks like it should be 1 metre wide, but I'm looking at the pillow and the other things in it, and I'm going to guess that's probably 12 to 15 inches. So there's a lot of detail in quite a small area. But if you imagine that squared out, that would be a beautiful thing to have as a curtain in that kind of style. I'd love to do something like that. And it's not that I don't know where to start, because I can look at like the edge and I can see the edge and it does a thing and it goes round and I can kind of picture some of it. But I'd rather see the pattern. I'd rather see... I don't suppose she's got... No, she hasn't got anything else that she's shared with it in. But yeah, that really is something special to me, and I would really love to know more about that, and I'm glad I found it to show you. So but anyway, on that note, it is the end of stream. It's 10 o'clock at night. Dear God, it's 10 o'clock at night. I shall see you tomorrow. I'm not quite sure what we're going to do tomorrow, because I probably should do some more triangle, to be fair. Although I really kind of want to do a bit more strip, I'm sure you understand. Because I want to get deciding and picking my outcomes. But we are done for the day. I might take tomorrow off if I really can't decide. But I shall see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.